Cher Monsieur le Président,
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be back in Strasbourg. The last session that took place in this chamber was in February 2020, more than a year ago. And how the world has changed since then. We would hardly have imagined back then that a global pandemic would have put a stop to our economies, would have weighed heavily on our societies, and really upset to the full our way of life. This pandemic has cost our societies and our economies dear. It's incontestable, but it has also mobilized us. It has faced us with the challenge of trying to conceive and implement extraordinary solutions. And with the strong support of this chamber and the member states, we have launched financial assistance measures of an unprecedented nature and at record speed. NextGenerationEU will give our union the power to invest hundreds of billions in a common recovery. And this is something that we have the utmost need of. And it will also allow us to invest in our common priorities. With NextGenerationEU, we're going to transform our continent for decades to come. We're digitalising our economies. We're going to forge Green Deal, which will be a reality and will make our societies stronger and more resilient. Our plan is worth 750 billion euros. It's the biggest recovery plan that has been implemented in Europe since the Marshall Plan. It's a recovery that Europe needs now and for its future.
Succeeded because we realized in this fundamental global crisis that we should not tear ourselves apart in the old patterns. We did not divide into Northern Europeans, Southern Europeans, Central Eastern Europeans, frugals, friends of cohesion. No. This time we agreed that there is the one and only goal that matters, and that is to fight this pandemic as a European Union. And already next week, the Commission will start approving, indeed, the national plans for Council adoption. This is a landmark achievement. From agreeing on NextGenerationEU at our 4-day summit last July to the approval of the first plans, it took us less than a year. And today I want to thank everybody who made that possible. The European Parliament for your support for NextGenerationEU and for the Recovery and Resilience Facility. All 27 member states for the huge amount of work they have put into their plans. And also more than 300 colleagues at the European Commission who are working on these plans day and night, together with their national counterparts and together with you in the European Parliament. So after less than a year, we're there. Our recovery is about to begin. The plans show the way. The money will start flowing in the coming weeks. Up to now, we have indeed received 23 national plans. These plans send a very clear message. Europeans are ready for a new start. Our citizens are ready to embrace a more sustainable, a more digital, and a more resilient future. And that's exactly the future we want to build with NextGenerationEU. Now let's deep dive for a moment into these plans. Because behind all the spreadsheets and the countless figures you see, national plans allow us a glimpse into Europe's future. They address structural challenges more comprehensively than ever before. Labour market reforms will reinforce social safety nets and inclusion. Fiscal reforms will make public finances and tax systems more sustainable. Strengthened governance will improve the business environment, especially for SMEs. And digitalisation of education and our economies will boost Europe's competitiveness on a global scale. And these plans show that Europeans have a very clear vision of what is necessary for their future. Just let me give you a few examples. For example, the cross-border projects on renewable hydrogen, or the precision medicine powered by AI, or the smart, clean transport for suburban areas, just to name a few. Und lassen Sie mich einige Zahlen nennen.
Maybe I can give you some figures. First of all, climate and environmental protection. State of play at the moment, member states are using about 50 billion to work on clean energies by generating clean energies or having clean hydrogen. Then another 50 billion are dedicated for building renovation. And this will cover the whole spectrum from council housing to administrative buildings. And at least 85 billion will go to support sustainable transport. So digitisation of railways, charging stations for electric cars, seamless transport in smart urban areas. That's what we want, because we know that buildings and transport contribute the greatest to greenhouse gas emissions. So something has to change, but through modernisation. And the same dynamism is one that we see in our next objective, and that's digitisation. We can see at the moment that all member states are going to be spending more than 20% in their investments in digitisation, so more than what is set out as a minimum in NextGenerationEU, for example. Borderless 5G corridors, cross-border high-speed digitised networks, digital services, which are very useful, absolutely essential, down to the latest, fastest microprocessors. These are all plans which our next generation will benefit from. Almost all member states want to see digital skills of young people improved. They're investing in youth employment, in dual training and education, childcare, and the modernisation of their universities.
Honourable members, now we have to implement these plans. And there, honourable members, I count on you. In recent weeks, you have been scrutinising the national plans, and you came up with legitimate questions, and we value your contribution. We will continue to meet regularly for our structured dialogue, and we need your scrutiny. It's the very first time that we do this, so let's make it right, let's get it right. Because as always, Parliament is our partner when it comes to improving our European Union. Our expert at the Commission will continue to be available to discuss with you. They carefully assess whether each and every national plan meets the objectives we have agreed upon. And let us remind ourselves, 20% at least in digitisation, 37% at least in the European Green Deal. These objectives are set in stone. And from what we see so far, if anything, quite a number of plans are even more ambitious. Honourable members, with NextGenerationEU, we decided to make our recovery a European recovery. And NextGenerationEU can deliver so much more than 27 individual recovery plans ever could. And this will further unite our union. We Europeans are in this crisis together. We will come out of it together. We will come out stronger than ever before. NextGenerationEU has shown how much we can achieve when we all work together. So with more confidence than ever, I say, long live Europe. Thank you.